Welcome in, everybody, to Fantasy Pros MLB. This is the Fantasy Baseball Podcast. It is me, Joey P. Joe Pisapia. With me, of course, is the Welsh, and it's all of you, the Peanuts, the Cracker Jacks here, watching us on the YouTube channel. Subscribe, like this video, drop your comments below. You could win some cool stuff here we're giving away on the channel this month. So it's time to look ahead to the waiver wire for the pitching side of things. And of course, we've had some injuries here this week, including Max Fried, who's going to miss some time on that injury wagon. So not a lot of great options. Welsh and I, before the show, were just talking about how it might be a tougher week here to kind of find some arms that can really make an impact. So instead, we're going to find some guys that maybe can at least hold the fort down. And I'm going to start with JT Ginn of the Athletics. So far in the year, 10 appearances, 7 starts. He's 2-1, 43 innings for him. 34 strikeouts, 16 walks. So not a huge strikeout guy, but over his last 2 starts, 14 innings, 11 strikeouts, just 2 walks. He's got a .64 ERA over that stretch and a 1.07 whip. So Ginn has been very solid these last 2 outings. He's giving you at least quality start opportunities. Is he a guy that's going to make a huge impact? Is he going to knock your socks off with the strikeout totals? Probably not. But the Athletics are starting to play some better baseball here. They're getting some infusions of some of the young players too. Nick Kurtz starting to heat up a little bit as well. So I like where things are going here for the Athletics. So right now, JT Ginn is a guy that is available in a lot of leagues. Right now, he is rostered in just 10% of leagues, and that was on CBS, which means he is free 99 everywhere else. So if you need somebody as a streamer for the next couple weeks, while you have some injuries to deal with, I think JT Ginn can at least kind of get you by. Welsh, what are you looking at right now when it comes to the pitching waiver wire that seems a little thin here in mid-May?
Yeah, the one thing I wanted to say before I see anybody is to not repeat ourselves. Obviously, we've moved away from players that we've talked about before. But like going through and picking some of these names, there are still some of the players we've talked about in episodes that are performing well. Janson Junk is another one of those that have really low percentages. So we are in a space right now where I think it's a lot of like streamers, and some of the guys we've talked about and picking up on the waiver wire become streamers. The guy we're talking about today might be that. So it's a thin line, but just pointing out that besides the names we're going to talk about, go back and listen to the ones that we've talked about before, because some of those players are still floating out and they're still pick upable, if you will. We just didn't bring them in this episode because we've talked about them before. Now, I'm going to go to another Marlins pitcher. And as a matter of fact, I was going to throw Thomas White at us for this episode because we just lost Robbie Snelling, UCL injury. Bye-bye. That Thomas White, probably one of the top pitching prospects in all of baseball, has had a phenomenal AAA. I think he would be an option, but I think we have to kick that can down the road a little bit because they've already announced that Braxton Garrett, who has had a solid AAA season, is going to be that guy. And that's the guy that, we're going to end up talking about. He had a 2 ERA in AAA, 26% K percentage. His walk rate's a little up than what I think we'd really want to see, but he's getting lots of whiffs. I think that's a really big positive. Not a lot of barreled contact. His velo is actually up since the last time we saw him. So 2024 is the last time we saw registered stuff where he was throwing around 90 miles per hour in his fastball. His 4-seam is 91.7 in AAA right now, which is a solid number. His sinker's pushing right around 91. His slider and changeup are getting like really good whiffs. I think the Marlins have done a good job in how they've balanced some of these pitchers and, at least having like relevancy of fantasy value. And I think Braxton Garrett's going to be another one of those guys. So I'm encouraged that the velo's up a little bit. Slider and changeup, if he can throw those other pitches for strikes. The only thing I'm really watching is why his walk rate was up so high in AAA. That wasn't something that was a problem a couple years ago. So I want him to take those fastballs to set up the secondaries to get strikeouts, but 7%. He's got a 7% ownership percentage between Yahoo and ESPN right now. If we're looking for a shot in the dark, that would probably be the guy. I'd go pick up Braxton Garrett. At worst, he's a streamer, can take a few starts in, but take a look at him amongst a few of the other pitchers we've talked about in kind of a really weird market of waiver pitchers.
Yeah, a very weird market for sure. The next guy I'm going to talk about, again, it's not like it's a glowing endorsement, but I think it's intriguing. It's Brandon Sproat of the Milwaukee Brewers. Now, with Chad Patrick looking like he's more in that hybrid role right now, at least while Woodruff is out, Sproat is going to continue to make some starts, it feels like. Now, his most recent outing is intriguing to me. He racked up 15 whiffs and reached 5 frames in that one. So that's pretty good. That's kind of where we're looking at. I know so far you look at the overall numbers and you see a 5 ERA. And the expected ERA is more in the high 4s. The 1.53 whip is not great. He's walked too many guys. But I think that last start was really intriguing to me, where maybe we're turning a little bit of a corner here with Sproat. And if we do, and Woodruff does miss more time potentially or is delayed because, Welsh, it's not a crazy thing to think that maybe Brandon Woodruff might be more delayed on a return from injury based on what we saw last year. I'm thinking that Sproat in deeper leagues could be a guy that maybe can get you through the month of May. Again, I think both the guys I've talked about, I'd rather have Ginn than Sproat. I don't think he's going anywhere in that rotation right now. Sproat, I think, is more of another patchwork guy or a streaming guy that might be worth a look. He is about 27% roster right now on CBS, but obviously a lot of that roster percentage has to do with keeper leagues and dynasty leagues where he's still a young, interesting pitcher. Sproat's a guy that's got a live fastball. And when you look at the Baseball Savant page, it's in the 83rd percentile, 96.7 on average. So he's got a good fastball. If he can get a little bit more comfortable, a little bit more confident at the big league level, he tends to get undone a little bit by control issues. He'll get off a little bit sometimes in terms of that. But I think what you're looking to do right now with Sproat is build off that last start. He's got the swing and miss stuff. Can he find a little consistency? Can he find a little bit better location? And if he can do those things and start to build some confidence, he could be an intriguing pitcher. I do think eventually it does get bounced from this rotation, but we're trying to just find some guys that are useful for you right now. Welsh, is there another guy that kind of pops for you from the pitching market? I love the Braxton Garrett one, by the way. To me, that would be the number one ad for me because 2 years ago before his injury, he was pitching very well, mid-3 ERA. I like Braxton Garrett as a pitcher, and now the Marlins are a much improved team. Is there another name right now for you on the pitching side that you're intrigued by?
Yeah, we'll move to the relief market. I think I've done this a lot in these videos that we've been doing all season long. Reminder, everybody, if someone's new to this, every single week we've got these videos, this series that we do, is I've talked about a relief pitcher. And a little toity here, I guess, for myself, because I did this very, very early on where I did this with Louis Varland, where I said, Louis Varland is ridiculous. Hoffman looks like he's losing his job. Varland looks like one of the best relief pitchers in baseball. Pick him up in speculation. Then it turns out Hoffman gets hurt. Varland may never let this go. I'm not saying this exact situation is going to happen, but in a similar vein, Rico Garcia with the Baltimore Orioles right now is one of the most proficient relief pitchers in baseball right now. In 20 games, he has got a .47 whip or ERA. And maybe even more surprisingly, his whip is lower than that. Obviously, Helsley is down right now, and Helsley will come back. And I don't particularly see Helsley letting go of a gig, but they're still kind of evaluating this timeline. And Rico Garcia has been the saves guy. He's got 2 saves since May 6th. He has been practically untouchable. Solid fastball, but really it's about the changeup and slider. 58% whiff rate on his changeup, 40% on his slider. Those pitches have just, like I said, they have been absolutely unhittable. And what's more intriguing about it is he's 29% owned between Yahoo and ESPN. He's under 50% on CBS. So you can't scream at me that this isn't a guy that's out there. You always need saves. You can't count on many relievers whatsoever to give you a full season. So you've got to be more turnstile than ever before. So Rico Garcia, even though he has been great, he's a guy I'd be picking up, getting as many saves I can out of him while things are rolling. We don't know there could always be a setback with Helsley, and then all of a sudden he's a closer rest of the year. So I would go and actively pick up Garcia to get some saves. It's going to help some ratios. And it's different than Louis Varland because Hoffman was shaky. Helsley really wasn't. But it just doesn't hurt to pick up amazing relief pitchers when given the opportunity, because maybe you'll get a few more saves than you expected. So I go pick up Rico Garcia.
There you have it, everybody. If you missed our hitter version of this show, go back and watch it on demand on the YouTube channel. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. And, of course, subscribe to our Twitch, twitch.tv/FantasyPros. That's the place to be Monday through Friday to watch Leading Off live with us at 12:30 Eastern. But, again, always on demand as well. And also, always in demand is the tools over at Fantasy Pros right now. Go to fantasypros.com/MLB MyPlaybook or just download the Fantasy Pros app, sync your leagues for free, and use the waiver assistant to help find you all the players you need in all of your leagues to dominate your competition. That'll do it for us, but the story of the game goes on. For the Welsh, I'm Joey P. We'll see you next time, kids.